Hey everyone. Let's get this screen up and going. Hi, I'm Sarb. Welcome to my live stream today. And today it is, what is it? It's Monday morning here in New Zealand. I've dropped off the kids. They are all at kindy and school now. Actually, our oldest one had to catch the bus this morning because her Chromebook failed last week. So she's having to book out, and quite a little bit of fluff there, having to go and borrow one from her school IT. So she needed to get to school early to make sure she should get the IT department to configure and lend her a Chromebook for a week whilst the other one is off for repair. Don't know about you guys. I've never really had a Chromebook fail like this before. It was kind of like you press one key and then a whole bunch of kind of like characters would come up. Is that a water damage or a shock damage issue? If any of you are familiar with Chromebooks and you have any insight as to what I can do to fix it, I've tried looking on the internet. Doesn't seem to be anything available. So over here in New Zealand, we have something called the Consumer Guarantees Act, where if it's something fails, even if it's after warranty, then if you would expect like a computer to last more than 2 years, then they're kind of obliged to have to fix it or at least repair it or at least take a look at it. So that's what's going on this morning. So my daughter's had to go and borrow from her school IT department a Chromebook to get her through the next 2 to 6 weeks, which is how long it's going to take. And I think that they will lend her one for about a month. So if anybody knows anything about Chromebooks, where if you press one key and it's not mapping properly, like nothing comes up or like a bunch of random characters comes up, hit me up in the chat. But yes, today is Monday morning where I am. Let me know where you are. What's the weather doing? It's quite sunny. It's quite cool this morning when I went to take the dog out for a walk. It is there's a crisp autumnal kind of like feeling in the air, definitely over here. And I have been checking in Tokyo, which is where I'm heading off in the next wee while, in about 36 hours from now. I am looking forward to going there. That's better. And it is looking all right, actually. It's looking like quite a lot warmer than it would be normally for this time of year. So I'm looking forward to not having too much of a temperature shock. Although about 5 days ago, I saw on my Instagram feed there was snow in Tokyo all over the place. And it brought a lot of the transport system to a halt. So yeah, interesting times. It's going to be interesting when I go there. And I guess one of the things I've been thinking about when I'm packing is not just kind of like the gadgets that I'm going to take, but also like what clothes am I going to take as well? If like half the time it's going to be snowing, which was like 3 days ago. And then I think this Thursday it's going to be 19 or 20 degrees centigrade in Tokyo. So that's quite a temperature range that I'm going to have to prepare for. All right, say hi in the chat if you are here. That would be really that'd be really good. There, right, there we go. Let's kick off a little bit of chat in the chat. Stick around later on for the live stream, and I will be giving away channel memberships today. So yeah, stick around for that. I've never done it before. It's a new thing that YouTube has kind of like started offering their creators to reward people who are coming along to their live streams and sticking around and having a chat with me and others. So yeah, it's lovely to see you here. There's at least 3 of you in here now. I've seen a few people coming in and out. So hi, everyone. Let me know where you are. All right, so today let's talk about gear and gadgets. We'll talk about gear in a little while. Let's talk about gadgets. What am I going to take with me? So the first thing I'm going to be taking with me is this thing in my pocket, the iPhone 13 mini. I'm still on the iPhone 13 mini. I have put the iPhone 15 Pro Max and interestingly the 15 Plus in my cart a couple of times, but I've kind of talked myself out of it because I can't justify the cost over the value that this phone brings me. Still an incredible phone. Had to get it replaced about a month ago because the lightning port stopped working. But I had Apple Care, so Apple just replaced that, no problem at all. Was back with me. I think about 3 days. They got it to and from me. So yeah, the iPhone 13 mini, but also really importantly is the apps that I'm going to have on there. I'm just going to talk about two today. The first one is if you are going to Japan, full stop, not even just Tokyo, but just Japan, full stop. Google Maps is incredible. Google Maps is like my go-to thing that I have loaded up and I use all the time when I'm in Japan, because it just sorts out your public transport from A to B really, really well. It tells you what train you need to get, how far you need to walk. All of this kind of stuff just happens really seamlessly on Google Maps. I don't find another app that's anything like it. But it does eat up your battery because it is using GPS if you're using it quite a lot of the time. And it does take data as well. So one of the things another app that I'm taking is I was shopping around and I found an Airalo deal, which gave me, wait for it, 10 gigs over 30 days on mobile, just data only, no phone number, for $9, $9 US, which I think is a great deal. And then I found a code, a referral code, which gave me another $3 off that. So $6 for 10 gigabytes over 30 days. And that's me sorted. I think it's a great deal. Watch out for my fresh tech video and I will have the same deal on offer for you. Incredible deals for the US, UK as well as many other places. It's a really, really good deal. So if you are thinking about going overseas and looking for a SIM, shop around because there are some really good deals out there. So Google Maps is one. Airalo is another for the eSIM, for the data, because Google Maps is going to eat up your data. One of the things I'll talk about in terms of thinking about battery life, I'll show you in a minute. The next app is an app called Papago, Papago, which is great. And it's a translation kind of like device. You can set it on multiple Asian languages. So I've just got it set on Japanese. And you can take a photo of a menu or instructions on a packet or whatever it is that you want to do. And it will come up with the translation of what that is in whatever language that you want it to be in. For me, English or Spanish or French or whatever it is that you want. It's a fantastic app, really, really good. Highly recommend it. Used it when I was in Japan in August last year, and it will definitely be on my phone on the front screen when I'm in Japan when I leave tomorrow night. Right, so iPhone 13 mini and everything that brings through. But the thing with the iPhone 13 mini is that because it's such a small device, the battery does drain quite quickly with intensive use. So I will be taking this MagSafe battery with me as well, this Apple MagSafe battery, which has worked really, really well for me. It doesn't charge so quickly though. If I need a fast charge, I'll need to be finding a socket with my fast charger and plug that in when I'm stopping for coffee or whatever it is that I need to do. But if I'm just kind of like on the go, I can have this on my phone and it'll slow charge it in the background. This works really well for me if I'm kind of like doing other things and I'm not using my phone. If I'm intensely using my phone, then I need to find a socket where I can put a fast charger in there. Haley, nice to see you. It's really, really good that you're here today. Let me know where you are and what the weather's doing for you right now. What time is it? So yeah, the MagSafe charger, I highly recommend, works really well. You can even stick this onto your iPhone and then charge the battery, and it'll pass through charge your phone and then charge the battery as well. So that's really cool. I really like that. That's a good setup for if you want to make sure that both devices are charged when you wake up in the morning. That's a good solution. South Derbyshire, UK. Whereabouts in South Derbyshire, Lee? Let me know. What town is it? You may be able to tell I'm actually from the UK. Grew up in London, spent time in Hull, spent time in Cardiff and a few other places as well, but let me know. Right, iPhone 13, power for it through the MagSafe charger and high capacity power charger as well. I think it's like a 25 or 30 watt charger that I'll take as well. No, I've not heard of Swaddling Coat, Lee. South Derbyshire will do. What's Swaddling Coat like? And what do you do? Are you kind of like Sheffield? Hey, Pug, Nice to see you in Sheffield. I almost went to Sheffield. I was kind of tossing up between Hull and Sheffield. In the end, I went to Hull because I knew some people there. But Sheffield, I kind of liked. I remember visiting, thinking when I was about 18 or 19 years old, thinking, yeah, quite like Sheffield. Could do that. That'd be good. Yes, UK, for anybody else who's kind of like watching and doesn't know that Sheffield is in the UK. It's near Burton-on-Trent. Oh, I do know that. Thanks, Lee. That helps me locate you. Oh, nice to see you here. Nice to see you both here. Okay, iPhone 13, MagSafe charger. What else? Okay, this. The Insta360 Go 3, the black edition. I've got a nice little screen protector on here. See, just there. I really like the black edition. I think it's nice. I think it's stealth. I really like it. I probably will take this one as well if I can fit it in my bag. I just don't. I'm trying to pack a little bit lighter than I did when I did in August. I think I overpacked. I might take this as well, but this is definitely coming with me. This is the 64 gigabyte version. And the only reason that I'm going to possibly take another one is that if I can't clear this at the end of each day, because they do fill up fast. So yeah, depending upon your style of shooting, what you're going to be doing. Haley, DJI Pocket 3 and love it. Oh, that's good. That's cool. I had the Pocket original one. I bought that. Didn't buy the Pocket 2. I haven't got round to doing the Pocket 3, to be honest. I have thought about it. But what do you love about it so much, Lee? Let me know. Yeah, Full Monty Country. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember that film. I haven't seen it for ages. I think they're doing a remake of it, aren't they? I'm not sure. I think I read something about that anyway. So yeah, the Go 3, love this. And I think it's really good for on the go. Maybe it's a good time just to talk to you about how I'm going to shoot when I'm in Japan as well. TV show. Oh, they're doing it as a TV show. Okay, cool. Wonder if we'll get that here. Probably will. We tend to get quite a few UK shows, but a bit after you've had them in the UK, here in New Zealand. So how am I going to shoot when I'm in Japan? When I was in Japan last time, I pretty much did everything on my phone and Insta360 Flow, the gimbal. I will take my gimbal this time, but I'm not going to be doing all of that stuff, all of my filming on the Flow this time. I want to be using my other cameras too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cycle through each camera each day. I don't want to be leaving the hotel with like a ton of gear each day, thinking about what am I going to use for what thing and for what shot. That kind of thing just kind of ruins the day for me because I want to have a good time as well. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to say, hey, this morning I'm taking the Go 3 out with me. I'm going to do everything Go 3. And if I need to B-roll of me using the Go 3, then I'll just use my phone. I'll prop it up somewhere or I'll put it on the Flow and I'll capture myself doing that. And the next day I'll take the Ace Pro and the next day I'll take the X3. And basically they're the three cameras that I'm just going to cycle between. And maybe one day I'll just do, right, it's just iPhone today, iPhone and Flow. And that way I think it just stops you from feeling overloaded as a creator as well. Because there's only so much you can do. There's only so much that you can think about and have a good time too. So I'm just going to stick to one camera each day and cycle around. And I am planning on filming each day. I'm not going to post each day, but I'm going to be keeping that footage, possibly even doing a light edit on it and then chucking it out onto a hard drive. So I'll come back to like, what's my workflow going to look like when I'm in Japan as well as a creator. I'm definitely just going to be aiming to use one camera each day. Lee, the low light video is outstanding. Makes my S23 Ultra camera look rubbish. Oh, that's interesting with the Pocket 3. Is it a 1-inch sensor on that? I'm not sure. I think it is a 1-inch sensor on that, but let me know. Pug 3. I love this kind of like double conversation we've got going on here with all the originals from Full Monty. Well, I guess not Tom Wilkinson because he died recently, didn't he? But yeah. Oh, interesting. That'd be quite cool. Just picked up a 13 mini, so I watched about 4 of my vids. Thank you. Oh, good. I hope they're useful. But yeah, thanks for watching them. You might have seen the one that I just posted when I got back from Japan. I think I posted it in September last year, where I had a bit of an overheating issue with it, and I talked a little bit about that. But I think everybody was. It was just incredibly hot when I was in Japan in August last year. It was just unbearable. It was stupidly hot. Oh, right. Okay, Pug. He died after they did the series. Okay, that's interesting to know. But like, fantastic that that he was in it, and so sad that he died. I think relatively young. He's such a good actor. So just absolutely like in so many things as well. Such a great serious actor as well as kind of like being able to pull up a comic turn as well. He was lovely. On Apple TV. Okay, good. I look forward to that. I do actually have Apple TV. What about you guys? I have the Apple One subscription because I use Apple Fitness as well, and I use Apple Music, and it just and I've got storage as well with Apple, so that kind of like just makes sense because I'm deeply kind of like embedded in the Apple ecosystem with my watch and my iPad as well. So yeah, I'll talk about the workflow though. Good chat. Good chat. All right, so I've got my Go 3, and as I mentioned before, I'll be taking the Ace Pro. I said the more I use the Ace Pro, the more I like it. It's a bit big. It's a bit heavier than you think it's going to be as well. Although now I've taken the kind of like the little. This thing is actually quite heavy. This is the adapter. This is the multi-mount adapter. So it's got the claw grips, and then it's got the GoPro kind of like wingy things, and the screw thread on the bottom. It's magnetized, like it won't stay up there. So it's got those. But this is actually quite heavy. It adds quite considerably to the weight here. You'd be surprised. But yeah, I do like the Ace Pro, and I do like shooting. And I think that why I like it so much is I like it for low light, but I also like it for the external mic. Now, I have found with the Go 3 that the external mic is not too bad. And when I edit it using my workflow, which is using LumaFusion on iPad Pro, which is about 3 years old now, I do all my videos on iPad now. I did use Adobe Premiere Pro like when I first started, but haven't for a while now, a long time. Everything is on a mobile workflow on my iPad. And so I love using my iPad. But what I have found is that there's on LumaFusion, there's a voice isolation facility now, which works really well with the Go 3, I have found, to eliminate background noise. And there's a kind of like a wet dry mix slider where you can choose the amount of noise, voice isolation that you want. So you can keep a little bit of environmental background noise if you want. If that works. But if it's windy, then you kind of really want to eliminate it because it just destroys kind of like the enjoyability of watching. So Go 3, using those directional mics, if you have it on direction mic focus, and then edit it using a software package like LumaFusion that has the ability to voice isolate. I think Final Cut Pro for iPad has it as well. I did try it for a month and I did notice that it was there as well. That actually works really well as a workflow. So I will be using that when I use my Go 3. But for the Ace Pro, because you can put an external mic adapter on here. Now, unfortunately, it's got a USB kind of like socket in the mic adapter, but it's only for charging. You can't put a USB mic in there, which would have been best because this is the mic that I use at the moment, this Flame X5. And it's got a nice little kind of like clip adapter with a USB adapter on there. Now, if I could have used that straight directly with the receiver in the Ace Pro, that would have been perfect. I can't. I have to have a wired solution, but that's okay. It still works. And I do really like the Ace Pro. If you haven't seen my vlogs when I've been on the bike that I did when I was in Nelson, which I posted about 2 weeks back, that gives you an example as to how the Flame X5 plus the Ace Pro and the mic adapter work together. I think they work really, really well. So that's what I'll be setting this up with. And with the magnetic selfie stick holder, what I have noticed is that I think I could use that as a hands-free, just kind of like wandering around, POV kind of like shot, where I'm actually speaking to the mic and then I can take it off and then speak to camera and then put it back on the magnetic selfie stick holder. I think that's going to work pretty well as a system. So I'm going to try that for a day when I'm in Tokyo in Japan as well. So that's where the magnetic selfie stick holder is going to kind of like fit in with me and how I'm going to use it. I think it's going to work really well. So I've got the Go 3, iPhone, Ace Pro, X3. So yeah, haven't used it. I used the X3 a little bit for shorts when I was in Japan last time. I've kind of stopped doing shorts now because I think with a channel like mine, which isn't particularly big, it can cannibalize. I've noticed it cannibalized my long video views. It just destroyed my watch time. I don't think the YouTube algorithm is still good enough to kind of like figure out whether your channel is benefiting, or just turn that on by mistake, is benefiting from shorts, or whether it's just saying your channel is rubbish and your watch time is rubbish because, oh, I just started recording, don't want that. Because you're using shorts, I don't think it differentiates well enough. So I just stopped. But I'm going to use this more for long form video. I'll take it out for 2 or 3 days when I'm in Japan, and this will just be what I will record with. But this also has an external mic adapter as well, so I can get really good audio, even if it's at the end of a really long selfie stick. If I take a day trip somewhere, if I'm on a bridge or something like that, I'll be using the X3 on that day. So probably if I take day trips out of Tokyo, this is probably what I'll be using. So cycling around the Go 3, Ace Pro, X3, iPhone 13 mini, I think that's enough. Lee, yes, shorts are a bad distraction for channels and for viewers. Yeah, I think I didn't spend that much time making them, but it's just another thing to think about. It's just another workflow to think about. And I just didn't need it. I just was like, look, I just really want to, I think what my viewers enjoy and value is the stuff that I'm putting out that's slightly longer, either tips and tricks or channel review or camera reviews or camera comparisons or gear comparisons or how to travel, and also vlogs as well. And that's enough for me to be thinking about at this stage of my kind of like channel life. You know, I'd love to be able to kind of like, you know, have shorts and have a strategy around that, but it's just too much at the moment. Krebs Cycle, hi. I love the X3 one. When I'm in a busy place or with a group, you can capture footage you would otherwise miss. Yeah, that's the great thing about the X3. Totally agree with you, is that you can just record and sort it out later. But you know, you can be confident that you're going to be capturing everything if you're in that busy place. So yeah, I agree with you that if you look on my channel, I've got a couple of videos that I put out in sort of like September, like what is a 360 camera? How do you edit easily on a 360 camera? It was in Shibuya Crossing. And that's probably, you know, it's the busiest crossing on the planet. And it was great to be able to use that example footage to show how you can reframe on an X3. It was fantastic. I love it. You noticed the double cassette player. Yeah, it's great. My kids are really confused by it because they hadn't. I've got a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 13-year-old. 13-year-old's not so confused about it because she's kind of like into the retro stuff now. But like the 4-year-old and 6-year-old are like completely like confused. Like, what is this? How do you do it? What do you mean it records on this tape? It's fantastic. That is actually, I think that's actually my sister's one that she gave to me. But I think I must have been like 15 or something like that when she got it, something like that. But yeah, it's great. I use it mainly for the radio now, but occasionally I will record something and play it to them, and they're kind of like bamboozled by like, how does that work? So yeah, what was I talking about? Lost it. Oh yes, oh no, yeah, the Shibuya Crossing and how the X3 is great at just capturing everything all at the same time. Yeah, love that about the X3. It's really good, and you get really. I think yes, it exports at 1080p HD, but I actually think that because of the bit rate of the export that you can achieve with the X3, I actually think it looks better than HD. If you've got good lighting, if you've got decent kind of like, if you don't kind of like make it too vibrant, particularly on the standard kind of like color setting, I think the X3 can look fantastic. I think it looks really good still. And I think they just announced that they just sold 1 million units of the X3 now, which is incredible. It's like, it's quite a specialist camera. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how much you see people with Insta 360 cameras out, or even just 360 cameras out and about now. I see them a lot more than I used to. I remember being a couple of years ago when I had the 1X when it first came out, people would just give me very, very strange looks for that. Now, less so, I think, less so. All right, talked about the mic, talked about cameras, talked a little bit about charging. I'm also going to be taking this with me. This is something that Cloudy Power sent me. I've got a video coming up. I've got a little section on Fresh Tech, my video coming up in about a week or so. One of the things I've done is I've pre-recorded a bunch of content that's going to be coming out this month as well as me posting weekly vlogs of stuff that I'm doing in Japan. Those weekly vlogs for Japan, I think, are going to continue right through March, April, and May as well. So you can expect that kind of like content. And then I will actually be in the UK in April this year. Mainly sticking to London, I think, seeing family and friends. But yeah, I'll be vlogging from there too. But this thing is a little stand. It's a MagSafe charger where you can stick your phone on there and charge that up. And it works as in iOS 17, you could put it in kind of horizontal and it works as nightstand, but you can watch stuff on it as well. On the back here, you can put your AirPods Pro, and then this little slides out at the back and you can connect it into the side here. And then that's a little stand to charge your Apple Watch on as well. So you can have all three charging at the same time, charged by this USB-C. And this is going to be my nighttime recharging kind of like routine every night, having that by my bedside. And the nice thing is that if you need to pick up your phone for any reason, you can leave it charged into USB-C and have it and just pick it up on the MagSafe. So if that's something that you need to do, take a call or something like that, that works really well. Or even if you're gaming and you want to kind of like hold it in two hands, that works really well with that. So I'm quite liking this, and it will find its way into my bag for Japan, which I'm really pleased about. So that's cool. What else am I taking? This is a nice little charger that I picked up. It's got the multi-prong kind of adapter, multi-prongs this way to fix into whatever you want. So you can use this, to plug whatever device that you need to charge into wherever you are. But what it's also got is a couple of USB-C charging points and a couple of USB-A charging points as well. I think it says over here total 3.5 amps. If you've got one or two, I do have Prodigy vinyl. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's I was a big fan of the Prodigy when they first came out. That I think is by far away, Songs for a Jilted Generation is by far and away the best album that they did. I remember listening to the kind of like, I think side 3, it's a double LP vinyl. I think side 3 is, it's just it was kind of like more the ambient kind of like, it's not really ambient, but it was more the instrumentally kind of like stuff. It was cool. In fact, I wrote up the whole of the last like half of my doctorate thesis listening to that album. So every time I put it on, my hands start doing this because I'm just like typing again. It just takes me back into that state of mind. Because I used to DJ for about 6 years, and I remember breaking the Prodigy. I remember playing Out of Space at 33 RPM instead of 45 RPM. At a particular party that I was DJing at, and it just went down a storm. Everyone was just like, what's he doing? And then everybody just started dancing around in slow motion, and you speed up to 45 again. It's a really easy thing to do, but it was just really cool. Like nobody had done that before at that point. Really enjoyed DJing. Probably wouldn't do it again now though. I need my sleep. So yeah, that's coming with me. That's going to be handy. Although I probably am still going to take like a 6-way charging kind of like thing for me as well. So that's going to be cool. That's going to be really useful. So yes, going to be taking my iPad Pro. Let me just show you my little workstation here. Oh, I've also got like spare batteries for my X3 and my Ace Pro as well. And the other one's being used. The Ace Pro charging station is being used, but this is the X3 charging station as well. So I can just fast charge my batteries all at the same time. And then at night, I'm ready to go for the next day with whatever it is that I'm choosing to do. You're 49 now, so you're an old 90s raver. Nice. I'm sort of like same age bracket. I'm 54 now. But yes, old 90s raver. Oh man, I remember like going to I remember going to Southampton once, some old derelict house. It was 80, when was it? 89. 89. And yeah, I just remember it being like front page news the next day in the Southampton Echo. And I was already in Hull at that point. I think somebody sent me a snippet because it was the party that we'd been at. And yeah, just loads and loads of like, I remember it was like the whole like backlash against kind of like raving, and like they passed legislation to stop more than 6 people gathering in like, you know, outdoor areas around a sound system. It was just mad, absolutely mad reaction to it. I do remember that. I don't know if you remember that, Lee. Just like crazy, like pushback by the system against people like wanting to party up, because I knew some people were taking the piss, right? They were like, you know, setting up sound systems and going on for about 6 days or something ridiculous like that. But you know, most of the time it wasn't that silly. Anyway, good to connect with an old 90s raver. So this is what I normally like to do all my editing and everything on. That is an iPad 11 Pro, Apple Pencil, really great for editing. I love editing with the Apple Pencil, plus the keyboard as well, which I don't really use for, I can't get this aligned, don't really use for editing, but it's, you know, I wrote a book on that as well. Fantastic workstation, has served me well. One of the best purchases I've ever made was that iPad Pro. And still going strong. I mean, the battery life's starting to go a little bit now, so I probably will be in the market for a new one. If not this year, then definitely next. But I love the iPad Pro. It just works really, really well for me. That's the 11-inch. I actually got sent the bigger one, and I sent it back because it was just like too big. Kind of regret it now. Kind of wish I'd kept the big one. This bigger screen would have been great, and the battery life, because it's just so much bigger as well. But, you know, I thought I was going to be traveling around a lot more, but then, you know, pandemic and everything. So we kind of like stayed at home. But, you know, now that I'm traveling around again, this is like the perfect size. Works really well. Hi, Blafasel from Berlin in Germany. Hey, thank you for joining me. Nice to see you. So we've covered like the stuff that I'm taking in terms of like camera and productivity. Got a couple of like other things to tell you about. Like this thing is really good to connect up to USB-C on my iPad Pro, because it did have the USB-C early on, which is really good because I can just offload my 2.7K footage off the Go 3 straight into files on Apple. I don't have to process it, just it'll recognize it and I can just pull it straight over, which is really good because I do tend to film mostly 2.7K footage on the Go 3 these days. And this has got an SD card reader, a couple of USB-C, and then a USB-A port, a USB-C port here, and HDMI, which when I was kind of like still working as a psychologist, was really good for hooking up for presentations and stuff. So this has been really good. This is like, I don't know if you have Kmart. This is like from Kmart for about $20 or something like that. Some people charge an arm and a leg for this kind of thing for an iPad that works well. And this is really well reviewed that it worked well. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to snap up one of those. Can't get them now, but they were really, really good. Love them. Thank you, Blafasel. I'm looking forward to Tokyo. Pug 3, one of the other accounts I followed did a comparison video, re those things. Which thing in particular, Pug? These things, these dongle thingies. All right, so yes, there's that. What other things? Okay, this thing. I've got another one here, which is the more sort of like hard wearing version of it. SSD, 2 terabytes. Flipping gold. This thing is like amazing. Oh, the dongles, nice. These things though, Samsung T7 SSD, pretty cheap these days. Run like lightning when I'm kind of backing up my files off LumaFusion. So I can just offload my videos, do the edit, and then have it backed up on here. And it's really, really quick. I love it. These things are really awesome. Fantastic. So I'll be taking 2 of those. So I'll have like 4 terabytes with me. I think there's probably only about half terabyte left on this one. So I'm taking the other one because I imagine I'm probably going to be capturing quite a lot of footage. So yeah, if you're looking for an SSD, T7s from Samsung. I think they've got a new version out now of the that's kind of upgraded from the T7, but they're still selling the T7, and it's really, really good. Blafasol. Yes, great tool. You prefer the Shield version. Okay, I haven't tried that one yet. I'm going to bust that open and take it with me. I'm leaving tomorrow. So after I've done this live stream today, I'm going to be having a cup of tea, and then I'm going to be packing my gear, packing my paperwork and all that kind of stuff. I've packed most of the gear that I'm going to be taking, like clothes and things like that. So one more gadget to tell you about that I'm going to be taking. Oh, sorry, no, I didn't show you this. So this is the Insta360 Flow, which I love. I think I've never really been a gimbal fan. This thing changed my mind. I think this thing is fantastic. And the great thing about this is that unlike other gimbals, you can also use this as an external battery. So if I get stuck and I can't find a charging point and my MagSafe battery maybe has run out for my iPhone 13 mini, as long as I've got the cable, I can charge off this. And this thing will charge like a lot of stuff. It's quite a big battery that's in this handle. So yeah, I do love the Insta360 Flow. If you haven't tried it, have a look at. I haven't done that many videos with it. There will be more coming from my August trip. They're going to be coming out once a week, probably from about June this year. Yeah, I've probably got like about 6 months worth of weekly content that I captured last August in Japan, which I've just not had a chance to put out yet. Yeah. Hey, Jan, nice to see you. Yeah, you told me about that, fixing that Google Street View thing personally for you as well. So yeah, but good to see you here. Blafasol, just a little bit more protection. Yeah, for the T7 Shield, absolutely. What charger? You're a charger nerd. Okay, so I'm taking this. Just to recap, just this basic thing that I found from Temu. This is just like an adapter more than a charger, and then I'll just taking straight Apple high power chargers with me as well. That came with my iPad Pro, and also with my iPhone 13 mini. I think that was still including it there. I can't remember where I got that from, but yeah, iPhone 13 mini. Do I pack this all into a camera bag or backpack? Krebs Cycle, I will come to that in just a second. Yes, I will come to that. I am being sent a new camera bag by ShiftCam, which is going to be coming out soon. They've got it trailed on their website, I think, but if they haven't, you've got that to look forward to. But that looks really cool. It's actually arriving soon, probably after I've left. But I will be reviewing that when I come back. I think it's going to be great. Let's have a look. Yeah, you need more power, Blafasol. Yeah, I'm just going to be taking like a 6-way charging adapter block where you can plug stuff in as well, because often I find, I don't know about you go to a hotel, particularly if it's on the cheaper end of the market, and you maybe have like 1 or 2 kind of like charging sockets. So I need to multiply that up pretty quickly. So yeah, I often carry a 6-way with surge protection as well. Often if you're traveling to some places, the electricity, not in Japan, but the electricity supply can be a little bit flaky, and what you don't want is fluctuation and having a power surge that then ends up frying your equipment. So I would recommend traveling with some kind of surge protection adapter when you are traveling around. I've always been a bit careful about that. Even in New Zealand, I have a lot of my stuff plugged into surge protectors as well. I think it's just a wise way to go if you've got expensive kit. Even if you are backing up your data and stuff, you don't want to fry your screen or whatever it is. You don't want to like just burn out your motherboard because of something horrible happening like that. So yes, one more gadget to tell you about, and then we'll talk about gear and how I'm packing it. I have a long-term review of this gadget coming out in about a week and a bit's time. I think I've scheduled it for. If you haven't seen it, this is the AirFly Pro. Now, I have the AirFly Pro. There are other versions of it. Now, essentially, this is a Bluetooth adapter which plugs into your in-flight entertainment system and then allows you to use this with your favorite Bluetooth headphones. For me, it's the AirPods Pro. I love it because they're just portable, and then I can switch between this and my iPhone, listen to my own music, podcasts, whatever it is that I've got on my own phone. and then switch back into the in-flight entertainment system. And I like the aisle seat, and I don't necessarily want to have to unhook my wired headphones every time somebody inside me wants to get up and go stretch their legs or go to the toilet or get something from the overhead locker or whatever. This eliminates all that hassle as well. It's really cool. Love it. It's the one thing that I pack now whenever I take an international flight, and there's an international flight entertainment system that I'm going to be able to use. Lasts a long time as well. I think it like says 25 hours. I flew to Japan and back with this. Didn't have to charge it up once. It was great. Really, really good. There's a new version out now called the the AirFly SE, which only acts as a receiver. This can actually act as a broadcaster as well. Watch my video for more details on that. But long-term reviews coming out on this soon. I think it's fantastic. This is a must for me. It's first on the list whenever I get on an international flight. Just brilliant. All right. Blafaso. Yeah, just bought a 160 watts, bloody hell, charger. That's one of the things actually I'm going to be looking for when I go to Akihabara. If you know Tokyo, Akihabara is kind of like the electronic city, kind of like area of it. Love wandering around Akihabara. It can feel quite overwhelming though. I've been a few times now, and if you don't have a plan as to what you're going to do or what you're looking for, you can just wander around aimlessly for a while and then just need to have a little bit of a lie down because there's just so many people and so much stuff. A lot of it's quite repetitive as well. So, the sorts of things that I'm going to be looking for are things like high-powered chargers, are things like SD cards. SD cards, you can get a good deal on SD cards, so long as you're pricing up between different places as well. External mics I might be looking at as well and just checking, and then just unusual stuff that I haven't really thought about. So I'm going to be really looking around and maybe buying a few things just kind of like for fun or testing or stuff that I need. So I'm going to be making that list later on. If you were going to go to Akihabara, what are the sorts of things that you would be looking for apart from kind of like standard cameras and stuff? I'm looking for unusual stuff that are actually going to be useful in my travel life too. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye out for when I'm in Akihabara. I'm not going to be going there just once. I will go there on the first day. I think I arrive in Narita at about 7 a.m. Need a little bit of time to get through kind of, customs and all that kind of like stuff. I'll go and pick up a Pasmo passport and then get on the Skyliner Access and end up in Asakusa, where I've got accommodation, put my stuff in there, and I'll head off to Akihabara for the afternoon and evening. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that on Wednesday morning. So that's cool. Right, so what am I packing it all in? So you may have seen my video where I'm no longer traveling with a suitcase. I'm now traveling with this kind of like duffel bag. So it's like a split level duffel bag. So the bottom splits open, flips up, and then that packs like a suitcase. So you can roll up your clothes and put all your stuff in the bottom there. And then you can zip that up, flip it back over to the top. And then you've got the standard duffel bag kind of like area at the top. So that is what I'm going to be taking. That's kind of like almost packed now. I've got a couple of things. I've got some running gear to put in there as well. I've been so I used to run marathons and ultra marathons. I didn't start running till I was about 40, but kind of liked it. I used to hate it when I was a kid, like really hate it. Didn't like it. Wasn't interested at all. But then I started when I was about 40 and I couldn't really run for more than about 2 minutes. And then I kind of like progressed. Long story short, ended up running 8 marathons and 2 ultra marathons. And then kids started coming along and I had to stop all of that because just didn't have the time. But I'm now kind of like progressing back into running again. So I want to keep that going. So I'm running about 25 minutes at a time now, probably about 4 or 5Ks, and just trying to step it up gently. I have tried this before last year and I got injured a couple of times because I think I was wearing the wrong shoes, but now I'm back into the old shoes, Brooks Adrenalines. They seem to be like just miracles for me. They work really, really well. And I think they work really well for a lot of people, which is why they are the bestseller for Brooks. They work really, really well. Hi, Daniels. Nice to see you here. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, the travel duffel bag I think is going to work really well with me. And I'm going to be putting a kind of like a foldable tote bag in there as well, because I do anticipate buying a bit of stuff when I'm in Tokyo, but I'm not going to buy it until the last probably couple of days. There is going to be room in my duffel bag for me to put stuff in the meantime if I see stuff that I really need to buy because I'm in that particular area, or I don't think I'm going to be going back to that place. So yeah, I've got room to buy stuff, and then I've got, because of the ticket that I've got 2 bags that I can bring back. So if necessary, I can buy like a tote bag when I'm in Japan as well. But that'll be in the last couple of days when I'm there. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. Lee, you ran the, oh wow, you ran the 2017 New York City Marathon. I would love to run New York City. I ran Berlin. When did I do that? 2019, I did Berlin. Yeah, and then I ran London in 2020. No, what am I talking about? Not 2019. 2010, I ran Berlin. And then I ran London in 2011. Yeah, it was both. I love both of them. I'd love to do the majors. I'd love to do Chicago. Chicago's supposed to be like really flat as well, but New York City is just such an event. You know, how did you find it? Did you love it? Let me know in the chat. I'm kind of interested in that. Yeah, I love. It's one of the things I miss in New Zealand is like when you do a marathon here, it's not really a big event. There's not like a ton of people, unlike Berlin, where it's like 30,000 people running the event. It was bonkers, absolutely bonkers. Yeah, Blafasco, well prepared to bring all the Japan gadgets back. Yeah, I might have to carry. I think I can take an extra personal bag as well on the plane. Might end up doing that too. Let me show you the bag that I'm going to take to on my backpack. That's what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using this. Now, the reason why I've chosen this is kind of like an Under Armour normal kind of like sports bag, but it's got 3 nice big compartments, and also this zip compartment at the bottom, which you can bung a load of stuff as well, including like raincoats or like other stuff that you need for the day. You can bung that in the bottom here. So that I find really useful. But one of the things, you got there's kind of like the big sort of like compartment here, which has got the laptop sleeve, and this is like the cavernous compartment. This is for like more like documents and other things that you might want with you. And this is like a little padded, very small little compartment, which you might want to put stuff that you want to just get easy access to, but it's also nice and fleece padded too. So you can put a camera in there without a case or anything like that. Now, the reason why I've got this camera, one of the big reasons I've got the magnetic selfie stick holder on there as well, which is going to be just stay on there, I think, most of the time. And these little clips here are really good to put the external microphone on there too. That's really handy. Now, one of the things that I chose this for is that because when I went in August to Japan, I got incredibly hot all the time. And I run hot anyway as a temperature, just like as a human being. So I get quite sweaty. And just my backpack was just getting soaked all the time. Just going straight through my clothes, straight through onto the backpack. And I just ended up having like a really damp backpack like most of the time, which is deeply unpleasant for you probably to hear, but also deeply unpleasant for me too to experience. So the reason why I've got one of these is that it's made, this material on the outside and also here, is made out of Under Armour's Storm material. Now, Storm is kind of like really a water repellent. It's not, I think, 100% waterproof, but it's water repellent. And it's quick drying as well. So it's one of the reasons why I've chosen this bag is that I want something that's just going to be kind of like work with me and my body and how I use it. And that's one of the reasons why I've chosen that. Now, I do have specific camera bags, but I find them when I'm traveling, they're too camera oriented. They're not travel enough oriented. So I end up like not having enough room for the other stuff that I want to carry with me as well, like food or drinks. It's just really camera focused. And it's got like a load of inserts in there that you can swap around and take out, but it's just not the right shape. And then it ends up distributed weirdly across the bag, and the bag is just kind of like not really big enough. So that is what I have found, which is why I've stopped using specific camera bags when I'm out for an entire day. Now, how I'll organize that is probably with I will have carry bags in there so I can just go in and get the gear that I want. But I'm also going to self-manage, like I said before, I'm just going to take one kit out with me each day. I'm not going to take like several different cameras with me with all the stuff that they need. Just want to make things easy for myself as well. So I'm just going to have one kit in there with me every day. I can just get in there, get it quickly, get it set up, or even just have it on that magnetic selfie clip on my side, have the mic already set up as well, and I just press go. Now, I probably will experiment with a lav mic as well, connected to one of those wireless transmitters, because I think that might work well too, particularly if I'm in windy areas. But yeah, that's going to be my plan for how I organize myself for each day, but also how I carry my equipment over to Japan in the first place. Let's catch up with the chat. Crib Cycle. The X3 is my ultra camera on a mini stick. Got great footage. You carried it on the whole. You carried it a whole 50K? What? Seriously? That's pretty incredible. But yeah, the X3 is great, and I'm looking forward to carrying that with me. And I probably might even. I've got the backpack thing as well, but it's quite heavy. The thing that you kind of strap onto your backpack and it sticks out over your head. Probably won't take that with me if I'm honest. It's quite heavy, much heavier than you think it's going to be. But yeah, that's incredible. 50K. You ran 50K carrying your X3. Are you serious? That's good effort. That's good effort. Last time I ran an ultra, I knocked myself out at the 8K mark of a 60K race. I remember kind of like coming to, I think I was only out for about 1 or 2 seconds, but I remember being on the floor and some other runner going, "You all right, mate?" And me getting up to my feet. And then I'm so stubborn that I actually finished the 60K probably 2 hours later than I wanted to. But I ended up in the emergency room 2 days later when I flew back, and I started slurring. So I had a really bad concussion, and it took me like 6 months to recover. Yes, that's my ultra marathon story. And if I had an X3 in my hand at that point, it would have been smashed to bits. I wouldn't have made it. 50K, man, that's impressive. Lee, is your first marathon at age 42, 3:53 finish, first time doing 26.2 miles. Also, Lee, you and I are twins, man. I did the Berlin. I've still got it in my head. 3:52.57. 3:52.57. That's 3:53, man, pretty much. And that was my first official marathon as well. I'd already run a marathon in my training, to be honest, because I wanted to make sure I could do it. I think I'd run a 44K round Richmond Park 3 times, and a bit more like around the streets and stuff. So yeah, that's crazy, Lee. How old was I then? I think I might have been. I would have been 69. I would have been 44. Yeah, I would have been 42. I would have been 42 when I did that as well. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy, Lee. Yeah. You should find out a bit more about my life between 42 and 54, because it sounds like you're going to be doing the same thing. That is absolutely crazy. All right, so that's what I'm going to be carrying my stuff in. So I've got a few kind of like, I've got one hard kind of like, not hard, but like more structured kind of like bag where I'll put all my cameras and line them up and all the batteries and everything. That will be in my bag for just transporting to Japan, and then I'll repack that and use that. Now I have to swap accommodation a few times when I'm in Japan, because it's really hard. I've talked to a couple of accommodation providers in Japan and in Tokyo, and they said that a lot of businesses went out. They went out of business during the pandemic. And so accommodation is actually really quite tight now in Tokyo for holiday makers and tourists. So I have to, let me just look at my spreadsheet here. I have to change accommodation 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the 2 weeks that I'm there. Now I'm going back to the same place 3 times, but in between I have to change to 2 different places. And one of those days is on a public holiday, which is the Emperor's birthday in Japan, which is actually it's actually really hard to get accommodation there on that day. But I have managed to land a little capsule hotel in a place called Dormy Inn. If you're in Japan and you can afford it, not that expensive. They're probably about what's the equivalent? Probably about $100 a night. But most of them have onsens, public baths in them, and free noodles at night, free popsicles, free kind of like, probiotic drinks and all the rest of it, and free pajamas. They're fantastic. They're such a nice experience for when you're traveling. They're actually business people's hotels, but a lot of travelers use them now as well. Absolutely great if you can get a bed in them. Now, I found one I was going to stay at a kind of like a ryokan, low-key ryokan, but I actually found yesterday that the dormy in one of the places where it's kind of like, it's a private like little capsule where you've got like a really big bed, little workstation. I'm just going to be there for one night and use the onsen and use all the facilities. And that's going to be the night of the public holiday. And I'm meeting a friend in Japan and spending the day in Tokyo with them at a samurai festival, but also a plum blossom viewing festival as well that day. So I think it's going to be really, really busy, and it's going to be brilliant end of the day. So I am going to be having to swap around accommodation a bit, but I think I've got some nice accommodation, not too expensive accommodation in some really good places when I'm there as well. I'm back onto the running again. I will be doing park run, at least one park run when I'm there. There are park runs in Tokyo. They're a little bit off the beaten track though, so I'm gonna have to find it. So I think that will be the first Saturday that I'm there. I'm aiming to do a 5K park run. I'm not quite up to 5K yet, but I think I can push it. I think I can do a walk run on that one. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that. I'm doing about, I think running wise, I'm doing about 4K at the moment. Don't want to push it too hard though. So yeah, I'll make up my mind when I'm closer to it. Lee, the most you did in training was 30K. Good effort. Recently been doing long endurance, fast hiking, but oh man, broke your leg on Christmas Eve. That's not LOL, man. That's no good. Hope you get better soon. That's no good. I hope it's not a serious break. Blafastle, I use Tasmanian Tiger TT modular tack pack. Total modular backpack. Oh, interesting. I might look into that. Doubt I can get hold of it here in New Zealand, but I will. Let me just. Can I copy that? No, I can't copy that. I will look at the chat later and I will copy that. Thank you. That's great. That's a good tip. I'll have a look into that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this trip. It's going to be fabulous. I think the weather's looking all right. I did actually cancel part of my trip. I was going to go to Hakone, which was kind of like a volcanic area, probably about hour and a half outside of Tokyo on the fast train. But I looked a couple of days ago, and the ropeway, the cable car that goes across like the really big volcanic area, which is the highlight, is going to be partially closed from the 14th of February. So I've decided to can that, and I'll do a few other things instead. But it does mean that they're going to be day trips now. That was going to be 2 nights away from Tokyo, but I canned that, found some accommodation in Tokyo. And so all the trips I'm going to be doing out of Tokyo are going to be day trips now. I'm not going to be overnighting anywhere outside of Tokyo. So yeah, that's kind of disappointing, but also glad I found out beforehand, because that would have really complicated things. I'd have to take like a bus detour and all kinds of shenanigans, which I'm not really up for. I did a lot of traveling when I was there in August, and I came back actually quite exhausted. And I promised myself that I was going to pace myself better this time and just stay in Tokyo for most of the time and not over stretch myself this time. So I'll do a morning, afternoon, and evening activity, and that's it. And that way it's a bit more sustainable to be like, rather than running around all the time. I have to eat tonkatsu. I eat tonkatsu all the time, man. When I'm there, I eat ramen all the time. When I'm there, I eat sushi all the time. It's just variations of like just great food. I love Japanese food. I almost moved there. I qualified as to get on the JET program. I was quite a lot older. It was just before I turned 40. And then I ended up turning it down, and I took a role in the UK civil service instead. Not really sure that was a great decision. But if I had taken that position in the JET program, I wonder if I'd have come back. I wonder if I wouldn't have found a way to stay there. Now, of course, my life is completely different, but there is a possibility that, we may end up as a family back in Japan some point in the future. Who knows? Life can be funny like that. Cast off on Tuesday, got titanium plate on your fibula. Oh, I've never broken anything big. I dropped an iron on my toe, my big toe, my left toe, when I was about 11. Didn't tell anyone because I thought I'd get into trouble. But it's clear that I broke it at some point, and that gives me jip now. So yeah, good. You can't really ignore a leg break though. But I'm glad you're going to get it. You're getting it taken care of. Yeah, it's ridiculous. What you do when you're an 11-year-old because you think you're going to get into trouble. I remember just like screaming into a pillow. I think I was ironing my school shirt for like the morning. I think it was Sunday night or something. I just started encouraging my daughter to iron her shirt, but I realized that saw the state of her shirt when she left this morning. She didn't do it. Living there must be hard as gauging. Yeah, I guess it is. But I think that there's more now. I think that they just encouraged. I think they've just released a digital nomad visa now. I think you have to be earning quite a lot. I think you have to be earning the equivalent of about, I think, 50,000 US, something like that. And you can go for 6 months, but you can take your family with you. I don't know what happens after 6 months, but I think that they're really trying to encourage. But also, I think they see now that they're in quite serious global competition for talent. I think New Zealand is realizing that as well. They think they missed out on quite a lot of people who are kind of like reconfiguring their lives after the pandemic blip. And a lot of them went to Canada and the US and other places, and Australia maybe. So I think that Japan, I was watching something on NHK last night where they're saying that lots of their workers in Japanese companies in Southeast Asian countries are quitting. They're being poached by other more local companies. And there's not so much kudos now associated with working for a Japanese company. And they're finding that they're not getting promoted as well as Southeast Asian gaijin, even working in their own country, but just because they're in a Japanese organization. So yeah, I think it's interesting times in Japan at the moment, and I think they're having to figure out how, with a falling population, they're going to keep up with kind of like quality of life and keeping businesses going. And I think that that's the stark reality when you're in this kind of like world as well. What YouTube channels do I watch? That's an interesting question. What do I watch regularly? I watch Chris Abroad actually quite a lot, just for fun. So he's English guy who's been living in Japan for quite a long time now. I think he started off as a Japanese English teacher. I think he's quite good. I don't watch him all the time, but every now and again I have it, like I binge watching him. Don't actually watch that many kind of like camera creators. I watch quite a lot of YouTubers talking about YouTube at the moment, talking about how they're finding their experience. I watch Ben Claremont's good, and I know that he's going through a bit of a rethink at the moment as to what he's doing with his channel. I think he's talked a lot about kind of like his experience of perfectionism and trying to kind of like keep up with like what people want to watch, and how he's found that really difficult. I mean, like, he's a big channel now. I think he's like almost like 180K. But he's been finding it difficult. So I've been watching him, and his 360 content has always been really good. So yeah, I like watching him. Eat Sleep 360, a guy called Rich, who I know who I did a collab with back in the day in like 2019, I think. So yeah, we did 21 tips for the 1R. It's a 360 1R, which is still like a really popular video, still gets watches now. So I watch him quite a lot, and he's similar. Like, I met up with him last October when I was back in the UK, and we had a bit of a chat about kind of like YouTube and what it was like to be a creator on YouTube at the moment. So yeah, you can check him out as well. Let me just have a look at my YouTube, and I'll tell you who I've been watching recently. No, who's all that? Sure. Yes. That's an Opus clip video, which is what I was using for my shorts, but yeah, I've stopped doing that now. So who else have I been watching? So Brian G. Johnson, again, interesting guy, who's just kind of like come back to YouTube after taking about 6 months off, I think. So he's been kind of talking about his experience of being away. I know you've been talking, lots of people have been talking about leaving YouTube, but these are people that are kind of like coming back. I'll tell you who I watch like regularly all the time, and you may see a few clues of that even in my edits and my videos, is Casey Neistat. You know, Casey Neistat, the OG. Love watching Casey's videos. No matter, you know, he's now having like big gaps between videos. So I think he put out a video last week for the first time in about a month. But he is great. I love watching Casey. I always get inspired by watching Casey. So he's fantastic. I love watching him. Yeah, so there's a few that I'm watching like all the time. I watch Nate Black as well. Nate Black's got some really good, interesting tips around being a YouTuber too. I think he's cool. I like watching Nate Black too. And I watch the vidIQ videos as well. I use the vidIQ system quite a lot. And I also watch the Morning Fame videos as well. I use Morning Fame a bit too. You met Casey Lee? Fantastic. What was he like? I imagine he's probably pretty much the same as he is on videos. He doesn't strike me as someone who puts on a persona for his YouTube videos. He strikes me as pretty straight up. Hey, Gerald. Nice to see you, mate. Where are you? Where are you? Let me know. Let me see. Let's see if I can do this here now. No, it doesn't look like I can do it. That's weird. I thought I could do it. How can I do it here? Participants. Yep, 3 people on here at the moment. I'm trying to see how I can put out channel memberships, give out channel memberships. But it seems to be, it says I can just click on the dollar thing and the option should come up for me. Let's have a look. Gerald, you're in London. Nice, mate. Whereabouts in London are you? I grew up in Hayes, kind of like light industrial suburban wasteland that serves Heathrow Airport. Used to be a lot nicer. It's pretty grim these days. When I go back anyway. Thanks, Gerald. Thank you about the go-through videos. And Lee, he was Jerrin at Tattoo. I don't know what that means. 368. I don't even know what 368 is. Let me know. And he just turned up. I nearly passed out. Nice guy. Yeah, I think I would I would be in awe. I wouldn't know what to say. Absolutely. Right, let's have a look over here. Give away channel membership, YouTube. I got an email saying that I could do it, and now it says I can't, which is a pain. Let's have a look. Click the dollar icon in the live chat, select membership gifting, click gift 5 now. All right, let's have a look at that. I'm in the chat and I am clicking on the dollar sign and I have no such option here available to me. So yeah, sorry guys, I can't give away channel memberships because they said I could do it, but now it says I can't. So yeah, apologies for that. Get in. Still don't know what that is. Sorry. Gerald. Richmond? You kidding? I used to run around Richmond a lot. I was born in Isleworth and I used to live in Isleworth when I was back there in the UK, 29 to 2011. So yeah, used to go to, Isleworth is poor man's Richmond. You're close enough so you can go there for coffee and run around and do nice Richmondy things, but then you have to go back across the river and down river a little bit to Isleworth. So yeah, got it right. Get it. Okay. Oh, you were getting a tattoo, and he just turned up. Is that what you were doing? So yes, Richmond. I love Richmond. It's great. I haven't been for a while actually. I think I'm due a trip back. I love sitting by that, just on the bridge, just by town. There's a little coffee place under the arch, isn't there? And I think the last time I was in Richmond, I sat and had a coffee and a cake there for a little while. with my daughter, oldest daughter. Yeah, okay, got it. You're getting a tattoo. Yeah, it was. I couldn't understand, couldn't follow what you were talking about. But yeah, Richmond, love Richmond. It's a fantastic place. Right, people. Is there anything else that you wanna chat with me about today? Because otherwise, I think I probably need to get a move on because I need to pick up the kids from kindy and school at about 2:30. It is about 10:30 here now. I've got a lot of packing to do, and I've got to try and figure out what I'm doing for dinner as well because my wife's at work. So, 368 was the creator studio he had under his office. Got it. And you were using that? What were you doing at 368? You were getting a tattoo at 368 at the creator studio? Interesting. So yes, I've got quite a lot to do because tomorrow morning I have to go to the orthodontist with a 13-year-old and figure out what we're going to do with that. And then the kids are going to come home and then they're going to drop me off at the airport. So yeah, I've got to do. You were getting a tattoo in the creator studio under his office, and Casey Neistat turned up. Man, you should stay in touch. I want to hear more of your stories. This is great. I love this. I'm sorry I'm going to have to go now. Thank you, Blavassel. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate you. Love meeting you here. Thanks, Crib Cycle. I will do my best to travel safe. I'm looking forward to that flight in premium economy. I think we don't turn up. We don't leave until like 5 to midnight. So I'll have to stay up to enjoy the food and then hopefully get my head down for a little while after that. I have very narrow sleep window these days. With 3 kids, you get tired pretty quickly. So yeah, that's going to be well past my bedtime by the time that flight takes off. Thanks, Gerald. You too, everyone. Thanks, Pug. Thanks for joining me today. It's been fantastic. Stick around. I'll see you next time. I'll try and do a live stream when I'm in Japan at some point. Probably just be a hangout with me thing. Hopefully it'll work for your time zone too. But keep watching the videos. They'll be coming out all month when I'm away, including some vlogs that I'll drop in. I think the first one's going to be on Friday, and then watch out midweek for the vlogs when I'm in Japan too. But otherwise, thanks everyone. Take care. Lovely to see you here. Laters.